Welcome to the 6th Owl Poetry Open Mic at the Owl. I'm your host, Teri Petz. Last fall, I joined a few women led by Kat Charissage for a poetry circle, and I liked it so much, I wanted to continue my involvement with poetry after Kat's group was over and share our poems with the public. You will see a few of us from that group. Thanks to the Owl, this is our 6th open mic event here, and it seems like our little group is growing every month. So far, we had 42 poets read their poems, with many of us returning monthly. If this is your first time here, we welcome you and would like you to know that we are an all-inclusive group. We appreciate you no matter if you are a beginner or an expert poet.
This one is called Midwinter Night. I wrote it on Christmas Eve 2013 when my husband and I were on our way to Claresholm for an evening church service. And if you've ever been across Highway 520 from Highway 23 across to Claresholm at night, you know how quiet and abandoned it can be. So Midwinter Night. Midwinter, silent night, holy night enfolding me in mystery. The veil is thin this night and love is close, shining from the distant stars, from our headlights' small spreading fans, and from the festive colored lights sparsely found on this darkest prairie road as we fly past farmhouses, barns, and shed. Hope, too, is close in star and moon casting silver light before us. And in this silent night, palpable peace wrapping us in its warmth. Light shines in darkness wherever it is found, dark which cannot quench nor put it out. And this last one is called On the Second Day of Christmas. I don't remember when I wrote it, a few years ago. On the second day of Christmas, I finished the washing up. Dishes left from last night's sumptuous feast, the ones that don't do dishwashers. My grandmother's passed down platter and gravy boat, cherished treasures from Limoges. Bare-handed, I slipped the gravy boat into the warm, soapy water, marking as I do how lovely the thing is, how delicate, yet how sturdy to have withstood the use of these oh so many years. My fingers smooth its curves, its pristine edge unchipped through fortune and good care, and I savor again the tiny rose, pink, and purple periwinkle border, hand-painted with exquisite care by some long-departed artist. I offer her my gratitude. Just then, I feel other hands, other forearms slip into the space where my arms are, 2 sets of hands where one should be, and I know my grandmother is here. I mark her rings on my left hand. I embrace her nearness with delight. I wonder at the manifold times her hands, my mother's hands, my hands, have washed this dish filled with memories, and again I give thanks. Thank you.
I really didn't plan on reading tonight, and I only got like 2 poems with me. One is about scrotum, and the other is about a winter storm. So I guess we'll start with the scrotum. Poetry has crept into the night, but I do not know what to write. I wish I had a light bright, that would be dynamite. Is Leonard Cohen's scrotum soft as mine? Who knows? Who cares? Where to go now? What to do now? I was aiming for structure, but it fell apart a little bit over there, a little bit over here, like a house of cards in a gentle breeze. Overhead fly the vultures. with their funny necks, which coincidentally look like scrotums. Oh, Natalie, where are you now? Do you remember the scrotum song? I'd sing it to you when you're about to turn slightly blue. And in saying that, where do you think Chicken is now? Our faithful rubber mascot, whom you tossed over the electric fence. Maybe some other city workers found him and gave him as much love as our crew did. I still have videos of him and us and our adventures. If and when I relaunch my website, I'll post them again. Comedy never goes out of style. Well, I guess I'll take that back. In some places it does. But why I take things so seriously? Life's too short for that. It's 4:32 a.m. My ass is sore. My sit bones feel like they'll push through my flesh, leaving me an amputee. I guess I'll end it here. I dread what health problems lie down the road. This body has taken extensive damage. Oh, and in case you forgot, is Leonard Cohen's scrotum soft as mine? Last year was a little bit different than this year. It was really cold and snowy, and I wrote this about that. The December winter storm. Destruction sounds. The handyman is here, down below in the neighbor's apartment, searching for the hot water pipe. The saw is sawing. Will he be successful, or will it be another disappointment? Heaven only knows. I, for one, will be glad when it's over and hope he gets the water flowing. I smell like a beast. I've been taking sponge baths for 3 days now, and I've not washed my hair. It's getting greasy, but I don't look like a greaser. My hair looks like Cameron Diaz's from There's Something About Mary. Damn you, cold. Can't you go back to the North Pole? I'm sure polar bears would welcome you. Climate change, right now it doesn't feel that way. But in 2 more days, we return to above average weather. This has me stressed. I have started smoking again. And when I sit on the stairs out in the cold, in my mind I'm singing Frosty the Snowman. Then it's back inside where I have the heater cranked up a little bit more than I usually do. My fridge does not like this. It has a death rattle. Hang on there, buddy. We'll soon be out of this. I have cold water flowing in a vain hope they'll stimulate the hot, but it does not. It's like a rejected person sometimes on a first date. This is not a first date, though. This has been going on for years. Over 7, I think. I can't remember when I moved here. Now I've said to myself, this will be the last time. I'll be moving soon. Maybe. Location, location, location. I love this part of Lethbridge. Out the door and 300 feet away, there's London Road Market. Down the road the other way is the YMCA. Work at the exhibition park is 15-minute bike ride east. Lucky Star Guitar is just down the block. And beside it, the tea shop that sells bubble tea. Downtown is northwest and 10 minutes away. Now you can partially see why I've stayed here for so long. And I can't forget friends. There are several of them just a stone's throw away. Thanks.
Somebody come up to me earlier and say they remembered me reading this poem years ago. They said it was pretty good, so I thought I'd try it again. It's one I wrote years ago at South Country Fair. Let's dance naked by the light of the fire. Come, join me. Shed your clothing, your inhibitions, your fears. Offer yourself up to the night and dance with wild abandon to the beat of ancient drums ringing in our ears. Come, let us run barefoot through the forest. Together we will join the creatures of the night. With reckless desire we shall join the hunt for sex, for love, for prey. Together we shall feast shamelessly on the freedom of a world without restraints and drink from the fountain of lost, innocent lust. Brothers and sisters, I beg of you, join me now. Break free from society's shackles. Surrender yourselves to the night, a sacrifice to the gods of our forefathers. Give of yourselves now freely and without hesitation, for soon the sun will rise and all will be lost. Traveling along the highway at dawn, fleeing from the past or the future, I can't quite remember which, throwing takeout containers stuffed full of Catholic regret out the window, dreaming of clean sheets on dirty beds where existence is sweated out through pores of remorse. On Saturday, she stood at the kitchen window, washing bacon grease and egg yolks off of chipped plates. I sat in the car and watched through flickering windows as the sheets on the line waved in the breeze of an approaching storm. The dog barked. I left.
So does anyone have children? I'm guessing. Why? Yeah. Okay, so they have, they all got a lot of presents this year and cell phones and, things that they don't need. So I'm always keen on teaching my kids a lesson, and it's also an excuse to not have to get them a lot of presents. So I wrote this poem for them. Today I asked my children, what if you had to carry all of your belongings in a rush, in a hurry? What becomes important is not what you had thought. What if your most basic need is not what you had brought? Can you wear your tablet? Would your wardrobe be complete? Use electrical cords for a belt and strap your iPhones to your feet? How would you comb your hair or brush your teeth without paste? It would be a shame to bring your games and let your needs go to waste. I really hate cutting my lawn. Sorry to those people who really like to have a groomed and well-ordered and manufactured-looking lawn. My reason is because I care more about nature than I do my lawn looking perfect. So I wrote this song. It's called The Eulogy for the Bumblebee. One day I found a bumblebee laying dead upon my step. So I picked him up and I placed him in the flowers as I wept. He depended on our lawn for the pollen it created. He lived among the dandelions, atop the weeds we hated. Pardon me. Did he come to punish me for keeping up with the Jones? Dying here to tell me that he called our lawn his home? How could I cut the grass and eliminate his food sources? What made me think that nature would flow without recourses? Cutting, combing, grooming our lawn, just like our hair, worried how it looks for the neighbors to compare. Well, please care for the bumblebee. He loses every time. His food, his home, his life, for our sake of looking fine. So don't be so quick to mow your lawn and trim your bushes tight. The bumblebee will thank you for the place to sleep at night.
Hello, everyone. I've got a mix of stuff tonight. I'll start out with a bitter poem. This is for one of the scientists at the Tyrrell Museum, which is where I used to live, and I, in fact, had a relationship at one point. If anyone wants his name, just come up afterwards. And he's still there. It's called Animus. Yours will always be the little love that waits on teasing little girls. Such a common phenomenon for one who wears the smooth man mask of superiority, class, and upright bearing. Professional wielder of the prep school facade, that really just announces an acquired capability for complex artifice, intelligent classic cruelty, and refined deceit, all performed with such strategically presented nuances of sensitivity and brave, appealing vulnerability that a woman dismisses all other signs, like the weak chin, persistently boyish features, and the focused, excluding gleam in the eyes. Oh, thank you. There's been quite a windstorm out on the coast, and we lived out on the coast for several years before we moved here. And it reminded me, we used to love to drive down and be by the ocean when there was a storm. And this one's called Sea Level. Howling low November sky presses the ocean into full cold boil, gray with foaming lace edges, flirty and white as the gulls riding, smiling gliders, hair slicked back. Swallowing the gale, they pump the waves' slow rage, dispersing it. A lone man walking by chooses to be swept, fully lashed. To join the royal, he weaves along the esplanade. Huddled cars park on the edge of foment. From opened windows, people lean out behind the gulls with jaws up and eyes shut. Hypnotic tumult usurps breath. Like everyone, we have driven here as antidote to a stale afternoon. We're having a lot of those lately. Seeking the immersion of din in a massive oxygen machine. Flying vapor effervesces a blow of Alka-Seltzer, the cure. Senses are cleared by the low roar. Leaps of salty spurts are like seminal fluid, blood, or tears. Writ large, atomized, and sprayed in our face for a vicarious purge. While gulping this tonic, a feisty wave jumps the bank and slaps into the car with us, dousing me with cold amniotic fluid. I spit back laughter. Removing my glasses, I pat my anointed face dry. With awakened delicacy, myopic calm descending on me. When the salt residue dries, my cheeks are tight. Turning away, tired of surfeit, we head up the hill toward home, and a fruit tree stands there above the fray, stoic and still. Thin stems strain to hold apples, hanging solemnly with quiet weight. Even in the wind, they are models of restraint, only bumping lightly together with the thunk, thunk, thunk of solid flesh awaiting release.
I'm going to start out with something that's a part of a much longer series of poems. It's a wintry sort of thing. There are tunes he cannot play, drifting in and out of earshot in the night. Tunes he only thinks he hears. Stations so far off the dial, the light of distant stars was young when that music first went to air. Some nights his nerves are strung to some high subliminal pitch. He's heard those sounds before. The underlying keening neural whine drifting in and out of the ether, the suck and push, the diastolic thump of his heart's blood, the primordial pulse over his breath in the night. Time signatures so erratic, he knows he'll never get them right. Some nights he knows he's in over his head. Technique, and taste. They're all well and fine. You've got to have the chops to even play along, to follow the ever-constant, ever-changing line. But alone and listening in the night, all that is just a handful of salt tossed into the ever-moving, ever-singing ocean. Music fading in and out. He's been lost for years now. Hasn't touched his horn in months. Generally is sitting in pawn. If he plays music, he's playing desperate and slick. One more short con to get him through the night. Weddings and holiday inns, playing pit bands and strip joints, soundtracks to other people's paltry sins. Late nights on the road alone, driving sometime after moonset, punching buttons on the car radio, listening to whatever he can get. None of it compares to the music he hears in his imagination in the night. Midwinter, pulled off the highway, playing for the northern lights. Notes like wind-blown snow, playing to those distant winter stars. Notes like tiny, distant points of light. Great coruscating sheets and bars of sound, his breath billowing in the winter air. Slushy ice building around the keys till he runs out of breath and sound. Till fluid inspiration starts to freeze. On the road from nowhere to the road to nowhere else. Down, boy. Another winter one. It's called Although It Is a Cold Evening. Although it is a cold evening, you know what we say. It's a dry cold. Although the blood in our veins is freezing, it's not all that bad. It's a dry cold. Though the birds are falling frozen from the sky, it could always be worse. It's a dry cold. My fingers have snapped off in my mittens. These things happen. It's a dry cold. My eyes have shattered in their sockets. At least it's not Toronto. It's a dry cold. My tongue is frozen in my mouth. The glaciers are headed south. But it's a dry cold. Our brains freeze first.
Good evening. I'm very new at this. I have three of them. The first one I want to read is something that I wrote more than 30 years ago. It's called Find Peace and Give It to Within. How many times have I asked this of you, and you remain ignorant and unsupportive? When are you going to come out and play? When there's seconds left in your game? Who are you? You are amazing, gentle, and kind. You care deeply for those around you. Be more nurturing to the one. Be kinder to your own heart. Be all right to be who you are. Find your place on your team. Find peace and give it to within. No one ever told you how to get on the easy road. Therefore, you have always been on hard-to-live mode. Find a way just to be before your game is over, and your time counter will wind down to zero. Find a way to believe in who you are. Tell the tale of success and admiration, even though you may not succeed. Find peace and give it to within. My second poem is a conversation with my iPhone on Mother's Day this year. Happy Mother's Day, happy Sunday. Wishing everyone who cares for little people or bigger people a splendid day. 7 years ago, life was very different. It's not that different today, except for what changed the most is how easily I can recognize the blessings now, instead of feeling the feelings that used to distract until I became unhappy. Happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day, honoring day, beautiful day, acknowledged day, the day given for praising accomplishment, best way to share this day because it's saying that a wonderful day to celebrate mom, every single one, everyone, daddy moms, fur baby moms, big kid moms, little kid moms by themselves because kids are in other country moms, estranged moms, lost your kids to suicide moms. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be alive and grateful that I have nurtured my babies. Nobody knows how much time we have to do whatever we can do in life. Just do it with love, because the love is the universal reality of blessings and not anything convoluted. Maybe it's all you get to work with in 100 years. A brilliant artist told me that. People spend the whole time in feeling unhappy with their own reality. The best way is to acknowledge that you can change your mind and your attitude without changing your environment. Incorporate the things that you love. Love the things that you inspire yourself to do, because plans of your own happiness and dreams, new creation. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day, Sunday, May 3rd, 2013. I have this absolutely everything blessings attitude because I have been living in the same ways, and it's proven that it cannot work. It doesn't work.
Everybody in a good mood tonight? Well, I'll fix that. I went for a walk in the woods one day when I come across two girls in a tent. Man, these gals really like to play. I wanted to fit in. I said I was gay. Can I stay? She said, I suppose it'd be all right. Man, what a night. I was really having a ball when she said, I don't think you're gay at all. Out the tent I went with a kick and a push. Moral of the story, better one in the hand than two in the bush. I went to the doctor. He said, what kind of pain you got? I said, I don't know, but it sure hurts a lot. The bartender said, I said, well, let's have a few glasses and we shall see. Ain't nothing in this world more powerful than love. You all know the kind I'm speaking of. Had it once and wish it were so. Now I'm half past forgiven, and it's time to go. Does being a good man mean much anymore? I revisited some of my old haunts, and it didn't hurt like it did before. She smells like cotton candy, her eyes azure, and I'm feeling Jim Dandy. The taxi driver honks his horn, only 10 stories below. I know the meter's running, but I still don't want to go. So take my hand and hold it tight, for I fear I may rise above you this very night. I floated away, but I could still feel the pain. I promised myself I'd never see her cry again. So if you'd like to say something, that'd be nice for the man with a wooden heart and hollow eyes. Gather around, listen to what I have to say. This is poetry, and it's here to stay. You're still here? It's getting late. You might want to tell your kids this one if they don't want to go to bed. Apache Lullaby. Peyote Bill won't take no for an answer. He'll hold you for ransom. In the middle of the night on the corner in the rain, do you feel his pain? Too hot to sleep? Through the window he creeps. I'm Peyote Bill, and I'll cut you deep. Maybe tonight it's you he seeks to kill. Thus the ballad of Peyote Bill. The moon casts an eerie shadow on this tiny little town. Bill's been drinking whiskey, burned it all down. You can always tell when he's been around. The stench in the air, the holes in the ground. Peyote Bill and his rusty blade Pete, looking for those yet not asleep.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessie, and I am J.M. Thielen. Suppose it's not much of a pseudonym if it's most of your real name. Tonight I've prepared 3 pieces and a little bit of connecting material for you. I'd like to begin with an older piece that means a great deal to me. I lit a cigarette with a shaky hand and sucked in a long, slow breath. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, swollen eyes, pale cheeks, cracked lips. I was a mess. I'd fallen a long way from where I once stood. No longer was I so tall and proud. My soul hovered somewhere in the back of my mind, peering through a veil of darkness, watching my broken body drag itself through the day. The next piece is considerably more recent. In fact, it was actually dated the 6th of December this year. I'm proud of it because I think it makes a satisfying follow-up to a piece that was written so many years before it. I gripped the edge of the sink and peered into my own eyes, searching for signs that the little girl with fire in her heart was still inside me. I stared into chestnut pools for what seemed an eternity, hoping that her tenacious heart would wake up, hoping that myself would come alive. Earlier I said satisfying as if it wasn't also mildly bleak. I'd like to end my time tonight with a piece that's fairly brand new. It was penned between the 23rd and 25th of the month, so please give it a little bit of leeway. I looked at myself, shoulders pulled back, hair falling down in a violet cascade. My eyes, dark pools peering out from pale caverns. My skin bearing the marks of passions followed and heartaches felt. This time, when I stared into my own eyes, my heart no longer broke. I no longer ached for the person I once was. This time, when I stared at myself, I looked at a reflection and became proud of the person I am now.
I just wanted to repeat what Teri was saying before. People ask me, oh, so what's poetry night like? I said, you wouldn't believe it. You know, it's like everything from someone who has never spoken in front of a mic before to people who have several books to their name. So I really appreciate the diversity. So, and now for something completely different. This one is called A Lifetime Ago Together. My partner and I have been together for about 37 years, more or less. It's kind of complex. And our first 7 or 8 years together were in Toronto. Remember those times years ago? The vegetarian restaurant on Yonge Street? Every Saturday night, watching Montenegro as he worked in the kitchen, eating macro burgers filled with seeds and beans and more seeds and beans. Remember the series of Brazilian films we watched at the Bloor Cinema? How they were both exotic and familiar, opening a door into color, warmth, passion during a gray Toronto winter. Remember the vegan Chinese restaurant near the art gallery? Where, when Mark from Rochester opened the menu, he blurted, "But it's in Chinese." I think he'd been hoping for small-town chop suey when he suggested Chinese food that day. Remember the supper club where my thoroughly American taste buds were challenged with real Indian spices and a rainbow of dolls? How hard it was for me, how hard it is for me to try new food. A distinct disadvantage in trying to become a vegetarian when I don't even like vegetables. Remember how we could hail a taxi right outside the apartment building at 4 o'clock in the morning? No waiting. Until we got to the emergency room where we were going, where we waited and waited and waited. A lifetime ago, a lifetime together. Dear companion, let's go make some new memories now, so that we'll still have plenty to remember when we're older than the old we are now. Now, together longer than we were ever apart. Let's find some new firsts together. Today? Okay. Some people are able to write poetry because the muse sort of taps on their shoulders. I don't think I've ever had a poem come like that. I always have to sit in silence for a lot longer than I ever want to, thinking it's all gone. Anyway, so this is how I start. It's called Here I Am, Too. The house is quiet. Winter sunshine warms the room where hanging crystals throw tiny rainbows across the rows of books. Books, dusty books, hundreds of dusty books in front of me, thousands of dusty books in all the corners of my home. But it's the books that bring so many people here into my home and heart. There's so much to learn about you, and you, and you. I want to understand, or at least try to. What's it like for you? How's that working for you? How did you get through that war? What brought you to Canada? And to Lethbridge, of all places. What was it like after your husband died? What do you mean when you say you live in two worlds? Ah, yes. Okay. Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's interesting. It wasn't like that for me, but here's what happened when people's lives, people's stories, where we are, how we survive, like finding the "You Are Here" sign on the map of the shopping mall. I want to know where you are in relation to me, what your time was like compared to mine now. Maybe this is why I've always been entranced by maps, any place, any size, and date books, and calendars, and timelines. Where am I in space and time? And where are you in space and time? Ultimately, we can be present to each other. Hopefully, we can also become present for each other. In a big world across centuries and millennia, I cry out, "Here I am," hoping to hear the response, "Here I am too." Thank you.
Now, this first one, as most of you are aware, the solstice just passed. This poem was written about the solstice, or perhaps much more than just the solstice, but it's trying to imagine humans when they first discovered first looked up and saw all the world around them without all of the background that we now have. So, at the dawn of human life and start of this earthly crawl, loud as the approaching thunder roll, we felt a sphinx-like footstep fall just beyond the garden wall. And humbled by this seeming might, we cowered in that sleepless night. There, in that verdant, vernal wood where once we so proudly stood, radiant and tall, we quivered in the darkness then, all eyes towards the east, anticipating with the next footfall an encounter with the beast. And there in that tribal wood, we pledged eternal servitude to an ancient mystic circle, the keepers of the miracle and the guardians of the flame, vowing he'd know eternal doom who uttered the unholy name. And one by one the stones were gathered and in their places put, arranged to provide protection from the falling of the foot. Stonehenge, whose winds have etched your ignoble face with illusory lines that silently trace down through all the ages since, an unreadable, unfathomable mystery, the speechless wisdom of the sages, and page after page of untold history, whose winds still work their ceaseless toil of wrecking rock down into soil, forever unwinding this mortal coil. There, here, in this timeless space, where every faceless stone seems placed exactly where we placed it so many years ago. At the time of our awakening, when, but for that brief hour, we walked as giants upon the earth and feared no higher power. Here, in this haunted, timeless place, through the stones the winds are sounding, but I hear a sound they'll not erase, and that's the sound that one heart makes when after centuries it awakes to hear another at daybreak similarly pounding. Now this one, standing up here, this kind of feels like I was or when I was sitting down looking up here, it kind of looks like the old movie screen. So I'd like to start this one out by asking you to come along with me and imagine this as exactly that, a movie screen up here. So Universal Pictures are presenting in my mind, featuring a cast of billions and the producer of all time, with a set designed to blow my mind, this whole terrestrial domain in 3D digital Dolby sound. I hear a familiar refrain, and then the camera pans, and the leading man, framed on the silver screen, looks towards the camera and asks, "Are you filming this scene?"
Hi. Hello, can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay. My first poem is a poem that came to me just a few days ago, and it was a morning of self-reflection in questioning, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I am no one and everyone. You, and you. I am a mere reflective. The more I acknowledge I do not know, the greater my vessel, my chalice for filling. Empty me so that I may see you. so that I may see me. No preconceived perceptions foiled by my ego and desires. Who am I? I am no one and everyone. Together we paint life's canvas. Me? I know nothing. I open myself to the wellspring of life's gifts, both darkness and light. I witness the two as one when I am present and no one. And my second poem is a poem that I wrote in honor of a friend of mine who we often write back and forth to each other in poetry. And it was just speaking back to this person about his writing. Breathe in, breathe out, sending warm, sun-dappled fields of marigolds, orange, drenched in blue, cumulus clouds dusting bear witness to divine exhale. Open, limitless, beauty. I witness you, the master of plume. Nuances of punctuation loom. Planted in succinct choreography, painting pictures beyond photography. Weaving tales that twist and turn, feeding hungry voids that yearn. What say you now? Aha, captured. Entrusted fascination to the ink that bleeds from poet's hand, promises a pharaoh's land. Moonlighting as an eloquent linguist, terrorist of rhyme, you hold your reader hostage. As your prisoner, I bow to my penance. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Mike Sawchuk. I'm actually part of a local hip-hop group called the Odd Fellas, so I'm kind of adjusting my hip-hop verses today to, I guess, show that hip-hop is not all drugs and money and that sort of a thing. There's more to it. It's a bit deeper. I've got two songs today, two verses rather, so it's going to be pretty quick. The first one is called Chasing Stars. It's about escapism in a general sense and kind of looking at reality television and just watching too much reality television as a way to picture yourself in a different life, I suppose. So I've adjusted these verses just an hour ago, so we'll see how this goes. Get home, rough day at work. No food, roommate's a jerk. Put on the TV, find a whole nother world. 'Cause I don't even want to hear about the problems on Earth. I got my own damn issues, so not another word. Just the static, faces plastic, all the TV romances. It's fascinating who is dating. I'm so good at relating. The stars all live within me. The cars, fame, and money, yeah, that's all that I need. So while the whole world burns, I just watch my TV, 'cause the people in my vision is all I want to see. I turn my back to my friends for this reality, at least the version I've been given, keep my eyes on the screen. Celebrity is all I want to be, yet I'm sitting in the dark, there's no way I could leave. So I pick another channel, no more thinking for me, but one day I'll make it big, escape my life and be free. Thank you. This next song is called Addicted. It's, I guess, looking at I think a lot of focus is on those who are addicted to drugs, and I decided to kind of take a different stance and look at those who are dealing drugs and why why are they doing this in the first place. I suppose it's a good way to empathize and understand why they're getting into this business in the first place. I'm talking too much. I should just tell the poem. Any place, any time, I'm your friend for a dime. Seeking sun, I supply. I give you lift, make you shine. Yeah, I take weight from your shoulders, but there's no one to take mine. We're just friends for a moment. The movement keeps us alive. We're moving faster than light, all the children of night, all estranged and escaping. Is it strange I don't cry? I'm moving faster and faster. Watch all the days moving past you. I trade it all in a second for a moment that matters. But I can't really blame them. Sometimes I blame myself. Your neighborhood drug man, because your happiness sells. See, there's no love for me now and no love in my future. Just handshakes and handoffs. For a shaker and mover, I'm moving faster and faster. Thank you.
I actually feel more like a virgin right now than I probably did on my wedding night. So talk about a new poet. I've got a few just 2 pieces here. And whenever I've been asked to write anything, it's been for my wife. And this will just maybe say how much I love her. It's called How Do You Love Me? My Karina, my heart is screaming and beating in silence. My mind frustrated and my soul deeply searching, trying to put into words my true feelings for you. Seeking a way to express my feelings, I search almost helplessly in the crevices of my brain, and I still struggle. I probe my vast vocabulary, yet I wane. I ponder without an escape. I come upon void and empty, trying to express my love, but try I will. I don't know that we could go. I didn't know that we could go. So long, so high, so beyond, so transcendent. Karina, you send me. Every dimension of my love for you has surpassed what I could have imagined. I am surprised by it constantly. I crave you. I love you. I need you. Just like air, I need you. Like air, I want you. Always around me, within me, warm and soft. A whisper in my ear, a caress on my cheek. I can't love you any more than I do right now, but I know that I'll love you even more tomorrow. Keep growing and dragging me along. I love you. Best friend, I love you now and forever. Every moment in between, just the way you are. Sleep well, my dear. I've had to tell her that for many years, and I've actually, to make a long story really short, I've known my wife since I was 5 years old. We went to kindergarten together. We were best friends growing up. Oddly enough, she's the only woman I've ever kissed. All the guys go, dude. The girls go, oh. So it's kind of a tale worth telling in a certain crowd. But this, I've told her I loved her for a long time, and when good people come around and are able to share their love to people that you love, it makes you happy. And a friend has recently touched my friend in a way that really touched me, I guess. And I wrote her this poem. So this poem's called Stacy. Life breathes, pure love. Being grows. Eyes hear, ears see, self shrinks. Mind changes. Souls greet. Truth speaks. Spirits cry. And hearts sing. Love abounds. Trust lives. Beauty resurrected. Thank you, Stacy.
And this is the end of our show tonight. I want to say many, many thanks to Ryan from Shaw Spotlight for taping our program. Thanks to Thanks to Steve and the staff at the Owl for their excellent venue and service. Thanks to all the poets for participating. I can't hear you. And our audiences here at the Owl. And one more thank you, and this is a big thank you to our audiences on Shaw Spotlight for watching us. Have a good night, everybody.
Owl Poetry was sponsored by the Yellow Door, 1117 3rd Avenue South, Lethbridge.